G'day guys, this is FCT. Does the Galaxy Tab S4 still hold up for 2021? Let's have a look. The Galaxy Tab S4 released in August of 2018. Where does the time go? Released in a bit of a weird time for Android tablets. There weren't really any good high-powered large screen ones at the time. Then Samsung knocked out this banger. My one has a nice coloured case. For some reason, it was much cheaper than the other colours. Weird, right? Sporting a 10.5-inch 2560 by 1600 Super AMOLED panel and able to achieve around 460 nits of brightness, this device looks bright and crisp in most conditions. The aspect ratio is 16 by 10, which is great for media consumption. If you want to use this in portrait mode though, it might look a bit narrow, which is why I prefer 3 by 2 for tablets. Overall, a good compromise though. It packs 4 GB of RAM and between 64 and 256 gigs of storage and SD card support, giving it plenty of storage for games, videos, especially when you're outside of Wi-Fi range. An unfortunate choice here was to launch with a Snapdragon 835 when devices at the time were launching with an 845 for about 6 months already. So performance-wise, this is essentially a 3-year-old device sporting 4-year-old chip in it. It does perform well enough though. For unlocking, there is no old reliable fingerprint scanner here. The face and iris scanner do the lifting, but I found it somewhat unreliable depending on what orientation I was holding the device. It was nice that the iris scanner does also work in lower light levels, so that's alright. Fast charging isn't particularly fast at 18 watts, taking over 3 hours to fill up this fairly sizable 7300 mAh battery. A solid increase of about 21% over the previous year's Tab S3, and 46% larger than the Galaxy S21 Ultra, for reference. As I don't tend to use a tablet as often as a phone, the slow charging never really bothered me. I was able to get some quick endurance when required, but mostly I elected to charge it overnight. Stylus support here is nice. I'm no artist, but I did find it useful for occasional doodles. I always prefer the stylus to be siloed in the device though, as I never just have it on hand when needed. For my use, performance seemed fine, and I appreciated the option. The best use for a stylus though is of course point and click games, which are rather abysmal with finger taps. Reliving your childhood with the LucasArts classics might be worth the price of admission alone.
I don't think you should drink that. It looks bad for you. Nonsense.
Now, device updates are always going to be the biggest issue for a device of this age. While I honestly think that updates should still be coming for a device that's only 3 years old, unfortunately, it's not in the cards. With Android 10 being as far as this one will go, and I don't expect it to get many more security updates, with my last received in March. For a device that still performs just fine, especially simple browsing and videos, it's disappointing, but not an unusual trend. Newer devices are moving towards longer support though, and it does appear that the industry as a whole seems to be slowly moving in that direction. So fingers crossed for the future. Now, tablet life on an Android ranges between good and painful, owing mostly to app support. Many apps are still not all that well optimized for the larger screen, but I have noticed that things have been improving recently. Instagram used to be a blurry mess, but now seems reasonable. Possibly due to devices like the Galaxy Fold series bringing larger screens back into the spotlight once again. It was nice to scroll through on the bigger screen, but there wasn't that much benefit. Web browsing and videos were best case, and they did look fantastic on this screen. Gaming is also well served on a screen this size and a device this capable. I don't tend to play anything too intensive on tablets, leaving that for PC gaming, but I do love tablets for playing some of my old favourites. The device has 4 speakers well positioned around, so no matter how you hold it, you still get stereo sound. They get rather loud and have a lot more bass and range than I expected for a device this compact, but still limited though. Camera here is fine, but honestly, if you're using a tablet as a primary shooter, you probably don't care about the quality of your shots all that much anyway. Still helpful to get a quick snap if the dog is suddenly doing something cute and your phone is not in hand. For those of you looking for a large screen Android tablet, you have a few options in the reasonably priced, not highway robbery price point. Availability and pricing of the upcoming Xiaomi Mi Pad 5 could make things interesting. Until then, the quality picks are the Tab S4 from 2018, the Tab S6 Lite from 2020, and the Tab S7 from late 2020. Pricing for the 4 and the 6 Lite seems to be floating around the 400 Aussie dollar range online, but the S7 could be had for a bit more of a stretch at around 700. If you're after a good quality large tablet, the S4 isn't really a great recommendation anymore. For the price range, I would steer towards the S6 Lite instead. A bit less premium feeling, but the extra software support is worthwhile for similar performance. If you can stretch, the S7 on a good special looks okay, but not really worth nearly twice the price of an S6 Lite. At this price, I would start to look into what you can get in a 2-in-1 Chromebook maybe. I checked one out in a recent video and I found them superior to tablets, being much more versatile and longer lasting, but there is a bulk to pay.